Well, hello. Welcome, everyone. And thank you for joining today during our very special webinar about WebAR together with Kevin. Kevin, how are you? Are you hearing me all right?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. I hear you right as well. Well, Kevin here is joining us today from the United States. He works at 8th Wall. And Kevin, can you maybe tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the director of business development at 8th Wall. I've spent most of my career in the entertainment industries for film, television, music, live events. And one of the things that I think I love about 8th Wall is we work with all of those different brands, work with all of those different musicians and artists and providers, and bringing them much closer to fans. So I think it's one of the most exciting roles, and I'm happy to fill it.
Nice. Yeah, and for me, it's also an honor that you are here today because we at VR Owl, the VR AR agency from Utrecht that I work at, we use 8th Wall for a lot of our projects, and it's a really robust system. And I'm very thankful that you want to join today. And can you tell a little bit about your background? What did you do previously? What is the first time you encountered AR in your past?
I think the first time I encountered AR, I was working for Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and people from Erasmus came to our offices and showed how we could bring like concert posters to life. So image targets, video playback, very sort of core AR technology. And I think, as I continued my career, I got more interested in mobile. I worked for O2 and Telefonica, and it was very much an interest to see where these new technologies were going, VR, AR as well. And I've just always loved immersive technology. I've loved projection mapping and holograms. And all of those require massive setups, you to be at a location. What I like about AR, and especially mobile AR, is there is no special equipment. You're carrying your smartphone with you all the time. And that sort of instant access and ease is what our clients particularly gravitate towards. And so for me, being able to have animation in front of you at any point, it's like visual effects for anyone.
No, exactly. Sorry, in the background, I also logged out of my WhatsApp. My apologies for the sounds in the background. No, but indeed, and for me as well. So people who know me, they know that last year for me was all about virtual reality, actually. So during my studies, I first utilized virtual reality technology. Then I started working more with that. Last year, I even wrote a book about it called Virtual Reality for Business. And when I was working on virtual reality, people also always were talking about, what about augmented reality? Are you doing something with that? And last year, when I got my iPad Pro with the whole LiDAR setup, I thought, I really should start investing time into this and see what it is. So I was, messing around with all the different reality composer apps and stuff on the iPad, which is a lot of fun. But every time the distribution was just such a mess always. On the iPad, you can send these files on iMessage to friends, but then on Android, it was always a mess. And at the beginning of this year, I started working at VR Owl, and I discovered actually for the first time, because they did all these amazing projects with WebAR, with 8th Wall, that it was possible to have all these experiences actually on the web, which makes it so much more, interesting and easy and accessible to share. I see a lot of people struggling with this, and they do not understand that it is possible and what is possible. So that's why I wanted to do this webinar today with you, Kevin, to really discuss what the opportunities are, what people can do with WebAR, what it is. So we will do a small introduction into it. We'll talk about the benefits and the statistics, the features that 8th Wall offers to users. We'll go extensively into some really great examples from big companies, and we'll have more than enough time to do Q&A with all the 44 events that are 44 participants that are here today. Thank you all for joining. Maybe first, Kevin, we talked really quick about 8Wall and that you work there, but can you explain a little bit more about what the company is and what it does?
Sure. So at 8Wall, we're the world's leading WebAR technology provider. We were the first company to put a SLAM engine, which allows for true 6 degrees of freedom in a web browser. We released it commercially in September of 2018. A few months later, we had our very first commercial project for Sony Pictures, Into the Spider-Verse movie. We couldn't have picked a better first movie. Great agency partners with Trigger Global, amazing support from the Amazon team. And that really kickstarted to show that this was real. I think, a lot of times there was some experimental stuff in the past, but nobody had actually put money behind it and said, this is what we're going to do. From there, we grew and showed other industries, went from movies and film marketing to car companies. We went to events. We went to packaged goods, fashion, beauty, and it just kept growing because each time somebody entered the market in that first vertical, all of their competitors knew they were already behind. If they weren't already doing something and their competitors had already released something, they had fallen behind and they needed to contact, us and other agency partners. And so, at 8Wall, we do not create the great experiences you see here for Porsche or for Pizza Hut and Pac-Man. We create the technology and we allow our agency partners or the brands directly, if they have the talent to do so, to create these experiences. So in many ways, we continue to improve the technology, make sure that it works flawlessly and easily for consumers. And we let the best creative minds in the world create these experiences showcasing our technology.
Yeah, nice. And can you explain a little bit, why it's also so special what you created? Because, there are other ways to use augmented reality on the web, but 8Wall makes is just a little more special or a lot more special than the rest. Can you explain a little bit about that? Because some attendees might not understand.
Sure. So before we released our core product, which is, the WebAR platform, you used to have to create apps and then you would be limited by what version of phone you had, what operating system you had. And when I talked to marketers when I first started the job, they told me they were not going to develop, they were not going to develop an app. They were not going to hire 2 teams to manage the app ecosystem on the mobile thing for marketing. That it made sense for gaming, it made sense for utility apps, but it didn't make sense for marketers. And so we knew there was this great opportunity. If we could just make this as easy as clicking a link on a website, accessing a text link, scanning a QR code, essentially anything you would otherwise do to get to a website, if we could tap into that, we knew that marketers would gravitate towards that technology.
Yeah, nice. And it's a little bit similar, I think, with the whole way that people shifted also towards mobile websites and really mobile first. And instead of apps, they really improved their websites a bit in the same direction, I guess, right? Moving everything to the browser and not having to install anything.
It's really, really difficult to get people to install an app. When we looked at the data, we saw that most people download an average of 0 new apps. So there are clear winners in the app economy, and they're mostly in gaming or utility or social. And after you leave those 3 categories, it's really difficult to find AR apps in general, or just apps that people are downloading.
Yeah, no, indeed, I think so too. I think for some apps it makes sense, but for a lot of experiences, you just want to make the threshold as low as possible and the barrier as low as possible, so people can really enjoy and start using it. So thank you so much for explaining that, Kevin. I will, I am from, my name is Freek Teune again. I'm from the company called VR Owl. We are a VR and AR agency from Utrecht in the Netherlands. And I started working there at the beginning of this year. And the reason why I wanted to work there is because we mostly do a lot of business-to-business assignments. And we are doing all kinds of assignments from the AR until the VR spectrum. So we do augmented reality brand activations, a lot of times an AR, but also on the virtual reality side. We do, for example, virtual reality training and stuff like that, data visualization. And that's all the stuff that I really care about and I really enjoy, because in the past I already worked with those technologies and I wanted to do a lot more. And as VR Owl, we are very happy and proud that we are able to work with really, really cool brands. And in the past few months, I discovered while we are talking with all these customers that a lot of them actually, they want to do something with AR, or they have seen it somewhere, or like you said, Kevin, they don't want to be left behind and they saw something else that they really enjoy. And it's always, difficult because it needs to be accessible and the threshold needs to be low. So that is why a lot of times we actually recommend people to start using WebAR. And as this slide also shows, from source the Accenture, not from us or from Kevin, they say 64% of leading consumer brands are really starting to invest in immersive experiences right now, which really means that you don't want to be left behind. And there's a reason why these consumer brands are starting to invest into this, and that is because consumers better recall the brands who regularly engage with them with immersive technologies. And also consumers really like these different experiences. So there's a lot of reasons why you would like to do that. And if you want to invest into immersive technologies, you need to understand what they are and what the differences are. And if we talk about augmented reality, there are a couple of ways that you can do that. So on the one hand, you have a native app, and that often uses ARKit or AR Core. These are like the technologies built into your phone, built into Android and into iOS, and they work really great, but you need to build a native app around that. Then on the other side, you also have social AR, which is already using apps that you already know from Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, and you can build all these different augmented reality experiences on that. But you need to have a Facebook account or an Instagram account, and you need to have these apps installed. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And then everyone on their phone has a browser. And a lot of people nowadays have a phone which supports AR and which is very powerful. And with AVWall, you don't need to have a social media account or a social app installed. You don't need to install a native app, and you can just tap in and open the experience in your browser and start experiencing it. And then, AVWall is the biggest and most robust system and platform that you can use to build these types of experiences. But Kevin, you can explain much better about that than me.
The first point, 3.5 billion smartphones, means there's no fragmentation between Google's Android operating system and Apple's iOS operating system. And that is really important for marketers. They have absolutely been clear they will not develop marketing apps for two separate operating systems. And in fact, sometimes when people do go an app route, they choose one over the other for various reasons in terms of the companies and people they're targeting. And it's also, AVWall works across Android, iOS, and desktop. So we've taken that incredible layer of friction away with no app. And then more importantly, this is the web, and the content is controlled by the brand themselves. So what they want to show, what they want to do, how long they want something to be, that's entirely up to them. No file size limits and no content restrictions. It's flexible. You publish when you want. If you want to, create your own experiences and host them yourself, you can. AVWall has a platform where you can use our hosting for you. And if you want to publish something, it's going to be live around the world in seconds. We use AWS, and we, are serving 6 continents and soon to be the 7th. Instant updates. If you want to make a change, there's no couple of days waiting through approval for an app store process. simply log into your account, create your changes, save and publish. It's live around the world. And we do these demos a lot of times for our agency partners. We'll bring in certain brands and we'll walk them through, building a simple project. We'll make the changes. We'll have them pull out their phone, and they're just amazed that this is now live on their phone, and they just saw this happen seconds before. And then finally, it's the web. And so, you can use external libraries. We're going to get into examples where people have integrated voice, they've integrated contest databases, they've integrated maps, like whatever you can build on a website, you can continue to do so. But if you want to have an augmented reality component, you would add Eighth-Wall to your site, and then you can.
Yeah, I think we go into a little more about the really specific pieces of technologies later. And can you tell a little bit about this slide and the facts that are here?
Yeah. So, when you typically do an ad buy, you pay for a view, and a view could be, 3 to 5 seconds, depending on where you're buying your view. And that isn't necessarily meaningful engagement. It might be that I just was slow and I was scrolling. Here, we see 80% of our users spending more than a minute engaging with content, and 50% of our users spending more than 2 minutes engaging with content. So that's a really direct relationship from the brand to the individual, and then whatever action the brand would like the individual to take after the experience is over.
Yeah. And because we were talking about engagement, right? That's one of the key benefits of augmented reality. And people like to compare stuff, right? So when you see these numbers, can you say anything that we can actually compare it with, maybe that marketeers maybe already know, that they compare this when we talk about, engagement of this level?
Sure. So, previously people would say video was outperforming just flat digital ads by some measure. Well, that's one metric, but this is even powerful because it's not passive. You're an active participant in an augmented reality experience, whether you're, pressing buttons, you're taking some action. You might be playing a game. You might be answering questions. You might be, walking through a portal. Like, you have to be engaged. And so I think that very nature, will lend itself to a longer time than just viewing an ad or viewing a video. And then also, what's the payoff at the end for the user to be continually engaging in this experience? Whatever that is, the greater the payoff, the longer you're probably going to see the engagement, unless it's, a time thing where you have to finish something in 2 minutes or something, say a race. No,
exactly. Nice. Yeah, and as you see here, it can be added to existing marketing mixes. Can you tell a bit about this?
Yeah, so oftentimes, people will call us and say, "This is what we're thinking." Right? We have we have an in-store campaign. We have access to the signage. Can we do it? The answer is yes. Others, we want to put, a magazine art. Can we do it? Yes. Can we add this to our e-commerce? Yes. Everything that's on, this slide and anything you can think of, if you are already having a marketing plan in place and you just want to add an augmented reality component to it, you can do so via a web URL, a QR code, text link, product packaging, anything that you're already producing, you're already paying creative for. You can have, an enhanced experience by using augmented reality, which then, will give you those benefits. We talked about the engagement, and also that personal connection with the customer and user.
Yeah, and if any marketeers who are, watching this and they are like, okay, well, I am interested to know, that's also where we are for as an agency. We have a team of 3D experienced designers. They create all these different models. They can program anything you would like to do. And we are happy to help, brainstorm and think of ideas, what you would like to do with AR, because this is often how it starts. We have an email campaign and we want to have some more engagement into this, because that's what people will learn from this webinar. What shall we do with it? And we are happy to help and think of what they can do. That's where the agencies are for. And that's what we specialize in. So it's an invitation for anyone to join and get in touch. And Eighth Wall, offers a couple of different ways that you can use AR, because when you think of AR, you can do a couple of different things, but there are, I think 4 or 5 key technologies that Eighth Wall offers, right? So one of them is world tracking, because if you want to add anything to your world, because that's what augmented reality is, it's a digital layer over your current situation, you want to be able to track that world really, really well. And that's, of course, where Eighth Wall steps in, and they offer the technology to be able to track the world so that your experiences are really well, right?
Exactly. So this is our core technology. This is our SLAM engine running in a web browser. This particular example that I chose is a volumetric file from Microsoft where the soccer player was captured and then streamed through this service. And so, being able to take a static model and display it in your space is the absolute most, basic way to get started and have world tracking. To stream a volumetric video, a massive file, and do it flawlessly is a much different story. And that's why, we have this official partnership with Microsoft for our developers. If they go to a Microsoft Volumetric Studio and have their capture files, we already have an integration where they can drop those files into our cloud editor and have their experience running in a matter of minutes. Nice. So this is taking one of the most core concepts of placing a digital object in your physical world and bringing it to another level.
Yeah, awesome. Great example. And another piece of technology, what you also talked about, right, Kevin, earlier, these posters that come to life, and that is called image tracking. So basically, you can point the camera at a specific image. It can be a flyer or a magazine or a poster or something that is hanging in your office, and you can bring it to life and put a digital layer on top of that piece of an image.
Yeah, and so we've had car companies do this. We've had beverage companies do this. This particular example, the blouse in the fashion magazine, of course, linked to the website you could purchase. So there's really no limit. I mean, we have a whole category for beverages where like the curved shape of a bottle or can is like a key component. And it's one of the most frequent uses of augmented reality in general. And of course, of Eighth Wall. And, similarly, we have a conical image target tracking technology that nobody else has. So we have quite a few options for bringing your packaging to life or your print to life. So for consumer packaged goods companies, you have a very limited amount of space on your outside packaging. But if you put the QR code or you put the URL, you have an infinite number of ways of telling your story, entertaining your customers, encouraging them to enter sweepstakes, whatever you want as a brand. And so, this is one of the most probably core technologies that you see running, everywhere.
Yeah, and the nice thing, of course, if you are doing this for a magazine, for example, and we have an example from VR Owl later that also uses this. Every phone at the moment has a built-in QR scanner, or like 90% of phones have a built-in QR scanner already on, the camera app. So you can back again.
I think we can move to the next one.
Yes.
This was a result of just customer demand. The social networks have done a great job of absolutely bringing augmented reality features to just everyday, customers who don't even necessarily know it's augmented reality or care that it's augmented reality. It's just fun, right? It's fun. I'm doing it. I'm sharing it with my friends. My friends think it's fun. And brands like to, jump on that as well and integrate that into their campaigns, but they oftentimes want more control or they want more features. And so we released the Face Effects product last year. We wanted to make sure that it was able to record a video. It was a key demand from the marketplace. And so our team worked really hard to create this first ever technology. It's what they continuously do. And we're currently the only WebAR provider who has in-browser video recording. And you're welcome to try this today. It's live on our site. You can pull out your phone and try it after this webinar. And if you're an agency, you can certainly start building with it. And there are campaigns using this now. And in fact, probably one of the best campaigns that we have running at the moment is for the movie Candyman. It's the #1 movie in America. Yeah. It's a pretty scary horror movie. And our agency partner Pauster created this amazing experience for Universal Pictures where you speak, which is going to lead into our next slide. You speak and summon Candyman, and you are freaked out by what happens. So this is an example, one of the first that used speak, and then actually summon drones. So using an Amazon-like service to bring drones into and then be able to control, in this example for Spider-Man. This is an example of machine learning technology recognizing 2 Heineken bottles when they're close by. And this was for a Formula One campaign in Singapore where you entered in to win a contest. It was an exclusive concert. Contest over, you did not win. The person who created that Heineken experience is actually up for an Emmy right now for immersive technology in another company called Little Cinema Digital. So we work, these examples bring out the best, and the best people are working with this technology for these campaigns.
Yeah, great. And also the Candyman example is a nice one. I saw that one, and that's also interesting because then you see, they publish this experience, and then you also see that a lot of different news outlets, they start talking about it. And actually, the experience itself is one, but also the fact that everyone is talking about it, that's just some extra marketing that you get, right?
That's exactly right. And that's really what the studios want, right? They want you to be aware of the film. They want you to, hopefully go see it, and also just to continue talking about it. I mean, that's core to their industry, and that's what makes, they produce these great visuals, and they work incredibly well in augmented reality.
Oh, exactly. Nice. And this, can you tell a bit about this?
Sure. So sometimes, we'll talk to a website publisher. Maybe it's an e-commerce site. Maybe it is a news source. And they would love to include AR, but they don't want to link people off to another page. So the team, set to work on creating this where you can add AR into your existing website. And as you see, a few lines of code and works within an embedded iframe. So this is another project. Everything we're talking about and showing is live on our website. Anyone can go in and search for these technologies. They can pull out their smartphone, they can try it right away, and they can understand what it is, on their own device.
So people can start to get creative, we can start creating all these crazy stuff that we can do, combining all these frameworks together, putting it on websites. It's really cool. Just also to check if we go too far or if people don't understand it, Kevin, I will take a small look at the chats, but no questions at the moment. But if people have any questions, the chat is here, and just ask any questions. And also at the end, we have a lot of space for that too. All right, I will go into the next one. Yeah, Kevin, can you explain this?
Yeah, so I mean, I think a general question is sometimes, well, how should I use WebAR? What's the best time to use it? And it's really, when I have my initial call with a brand or an agency, I ask, what is the brand, or what are you trying to accomplish at the end of this? What is your goal? What do you want the customer to do? And this can take many forms, right? You'll hear answers like, I want them to take a picture and share their experience because we want other people to know about this as well. That's really big in fashion. It's really big in entertainment. Others are very much more focused, right? It's like, I would like this to lead to a purchase. And so, okay, so then you have incentivized for that as well. And there's sometimes in between. We want to release a game. We want to release this new product, and we want people to be aware of it. We're going to use this as lead up to something. Maybe I want to drive people to stores. Maybe I need a substitute because stores are closed. And so we try to help find, like, okay, now that we understand what you're looking for, let's show you how this could work.
Yeah. And what do you think, actually, between you and I, what do you think WebAR would be the most valuable for in this process?
Well, you as the brand are controlling all the data. So that's a direct relationship between the brand holder and the customer. So you don't need to worry about other network privacy. You don't need to worry about general privacy. You only need to worry about your own privacy policy and what customers are willing to share with you. And I think having that one-to-one relationship is probably the most valuable reason for doing this that you can otherwise have. Also, you're not beholden to anyone else. You control your site. You control what you show, and you can have, whatever you want running for as long as you want running, and have that direct relationship. So I think that's really the best use of it. It's when you have a reason for wanting to have that direct relationship with the customer. Yeah,
no, indeed. And we have some examples now for all these, for the different phases. So this one is for the awareness phase. Can you tell a little bit about this specific project?
Yeah, so for Jumanji, Sony Pictures wanted to have a really great kind of gaming experience. If you haven't seen the movie, characters become trapped inside a video game. So they wanted to give people that feeling of what is it like to be inside the video game. And I think they did an incredible job with this. Trigger always does an amazing job. They did an amazing job with this experience. They gave you 3 levels. I mean, when you can have Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, introducing your experience, it's pretty special. And that's, an amazing just ability to show people how fun that movie is and what that could feel like, and drop you into these different levels. And then, of course, links out to purchase tickets or showtimes or, whatever you want. So it's doing a lot for them. It's won a ton of awards. As you can see, 5 minutes dwell time, that's a pretty significant engagement. Amazon also, was publishing it on their website as well when the movie was released. So really great support all around.
Nice. Amazon, because they are part of the movie, or because they like the experience?
The technology was built. So one of the things that you will use with Eighth Wall is different WebGL frameworks. So A-Frame, 3JS. These are more of the technical points, but we can get into it after. And Amazon Sumerian is one of the frameworks that you can use in order to create this experience.
Nice. So they were very proud that their technology is also enabling this.
Absolutely.
Nice, of course. And then we have this example. You say this is an example in the mid-range of this funnel. Can you explain?
Sure. So this is more of like the purchasing intent. Golden Road is a brewery here in Southern California. It's now owned by AB InBev. And this was to celebrate the Dodgers winning the World Championship, which in Los Angeles was a big deal. It was many years since they had previously won a championship. And if you had experienced or had access to this experience, you would then be shown like a map where there's Golden Road locations for discounts off of their beers. And you could get I think it was like $7 off of a case of beer or something. So it was a very good, generous offer. But I think more importantly on this experience, I remember talking to our agency partner, Eric Hartz, who were sort of building this and getting it ready. And as soon as the Dodgers won the World Series, they pressed publish and it was live. And that's incredible to have everything coordinated just like that and have a WebAR experience in your hands and then being able to celebrate and share it with your friends.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's a lot of fun. All right. And then we have one more in the funnel, I think.
So this is true. Encourage purchase, right? I would like to see, customers convert into buyers. And anytime you can offer a 4x increase in sales, there isn't anybody watching this who wouldn't take that.
Oh, exactly. And I think, this is interesting because when you browse online and you are shopping, you want to know as much information about the product as possible. And actually, the best thing would be to have actually the product at home. And this is what it can do, right? That's the power of augmented reality, is seeing even if you want to, in the right size, that product at home, at your table, in your living room. It can be products, furniture, anything, basically. And I think here in this example, are they using image markers or? I think so, right?
There is a catalog. So you can do both with Eighth Wall. You can keep it on a catalog, or you can just put a 3D model in space.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in the left one,
the one on the left is a world tracking, and the one on the right is an image target.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends if you're giving out a flyer to your customer, or if you want to direct them from your website. It depends a little bit where they come from, right? I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. Cool example. And I think this is also the power of Eighth Wall compared to, I think what's called the quick look and the quick view, is that you can have this whole experience and these effects inside the web page that you otherwise don't have, with the chooser on the bottom, the text and the effects. That's something special, right?
Absolutely. There's so much more features on the web than, just having a predetermined set of tools.
Exactly. All right. And then we go into a couple of different examples that Kevin and I gathered. The first one, of course, I want to tell because I'm very proud that we did it. It's an experience that we created as an agency for the Postcodeloterij, Unilever, and Albert Heijn all together. I think a lot of people might know this experience. So this is combining a piece of a physical flyer that was sent to everyone who is subscribed at the Postcodeloterij, with all these different recipes in there to create really delicious vegetarian dishes. And you also got a voucher to get the ingredients to these dishes, so €12 this code. And what we did is we added an interactive layer on top of that. So the guy who's also promoting, the ambassador of Postcodeloterij, Gaston, he was actually standing on your table, showcasing these recipes, these dishes that were scanned using photogrammetry, while they were twisting around with this whole experience, making it very fun, and promoting that people would actually get the ingredients and make this dish because it just looks so good, and they had a fun interaction with this. So this is something that we did a while back, a couple of years ago. And I think it's a really fun thing because it combines both a physical aspect with the digital one to really persuade people to start making these vegetarian dishes. You also remember this example, right? We talked about this earlier, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we have a couple other ones from really cool agencies. I did not add the sound just to make sure that everything is all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, example of an image target where 50 of these stands placed throughout Rotterdam for the International Film Festival. You could also have social aspects to it and share, watch trailers of the different films that we're screening. Very successful and great use in terms of like social distancing and having things out far away.
Yeah, I love this actually. So this is from Rotterdam where I live. I saw these everywhere. I also tried it myself.
Awesome.
It was a really nice experience, and I saw a lot of people having a lot of fun with it. So a great example. And the next one, Adidas Ultra Boost. Can you tell a bit about this?
Yeah, so similar, in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, our partner Orb Amsterdam, working on product release for a new Adidas shoe. And this is, we see this a lot where new shoes are going to be released or drops are going to happen for collector's items. It's very, very popular. We see incredible engagement with this particular, type, and it's probably why you see a lot of different people in this space, in this industry, using A12 WebAR to release their shoes.
Yeah. And how did actually people get to this experience? From a flyer, a website? Do you know?
This is integrated into just general marketing. So everywhere you could go into a store and access it. It was in digital marketing campaigns. They ran social campaigns. Some of the best campaigns truly do take advantage of all their marketing channels. And when you're dialed in like a company like Adidas is, you just know, okay, this is part of the campaign. Now we're going to throw it into the other aspects of it.
Yeah. All right. And do you think, so in your experience, do you think you need to change small aspects of an experience for different channels? Because they spread it everywhere, right? Is that usual, or do you see with other marketing campaigns that people actually change small aspects for different channels, or is that not necessary?
It is, and sometimes I think probably for us, a lot of our clients like to also run stuff on Snap, and so they have a dedicated Snap campaign that's slightly different from a campaign running with A12, because you could just do more. There's no file size limits, and then they can have that direct data. So we had a really successful campaign for Dior last holiday where they let the user choose which, do you want to access this on Facebook? Do you want to access this on Snap? Do you want to access this on the web? They just gave the user the opportunity to do so. And there's a case study about that. It's on our blog. And in fact, I had to be very selective with some of these slides. I could only, really put in like 5 or 10. And, we've got literally hundreds on our website. So if you want to see more examples, if you're interested in a certain vertical, you're a brand who wants to see what others are doing, just go to athwall.com/blog, and you can see many, many more examples, including the Dior one for the holidays that I just mentioned.
Nice. Well, and we need to see that one and also experience the Candyman. So I will make sure to send an email to everyone who joined today with also links to these examples to take a look, because that's important, right? I mean, we're looking at these examples to get inspired. Hopefully people, better understand what they can do with it, what the possibilities are, and excite them a little bit. So I will definitely send them later in the mail. And I mean, now we're looking at videos, but the best thing is actually to get it in your hand and experience it, right? So I would really like to ask everyone to, get, these examples in your hand. I will send them on email. Try them yourselves, because that's the best thing to do. Yeah, this one as I said, I don't have the audio shared, but this one looks so cool to me, because now, you're turning this pizza box actually into a game. And Kevin, you must know much more about the whole process behind it. But this one, when I saw it, this one inspired me so much, because now you have an object that you make much more out of it. Can you tell a little bit about the background?
Yeah, for sure. And maybe you can have it loop so people could see it again.
Shall I? I'll show it again. Yeah.
So, Pizza Hut they had a goal in terms, this is called Pizza Hut ARcade, and when they do the spelling for it, they wanted to bring people back to that nostalgia feeling of being able to play tabletop gaming when you used to walk into a Pizza Hut years ago. And what better than a classic game like Pac-Man? And they thought, well, what if we could turn our pizza boxes into that tabletop and everyone could take it? So it wouldn't just be in store, it's anyone who orders these boxes. So they ran this during the March Madness campaign in the United States for men's and women's college basketball. They had tons of commercials. We saw it all the time. My kids love playing it. It is absolutely one of the most special experiences that we've powered this year in terms of everyone just loves it, no matter what industry you're in. I've had people in fashion talk to me about this. I've had people in the beverage industry talk to me about this. I've had other, people in the restaurant industry talk about this. It's grabbed everyone's attention. And there should be, many more of these.
Nice, but I like the story that they want to take, the tabletop experience that they had in the past, in the restaurants and bring it to, a modern era. I think that even makes the whole story even better than just simply smashing a game on top of a box, right? I mean,
right.
That makes it even much, much better. And as you say, I think a lot of these experiences are also a bit about feeling, right? So people, have the feeling of they're enjoying themselves when they are doing a game like this. But also your feeling of nostalgia, connecting that to the Pizza Hut brand. I think that's, what makes this such a unique example of all the examples.
Yeah, for sure. And this has won a bunch of awards, and I'm sure it's going to continue to win more.
Do you know, by the way, can we send this example to people? Is this still online or not?
The campaign is over, but you definitely can see videos of it on Tool of North America. They have published a really great campaign on it. I don't think it's accessible at the moment just because of licensing.
Yeah,
and that is very typical of a lot of experiences. Licensings last for a certain period, and when it's over, the next campaign will go. So I don't think you'll be able to actually play it, but you should see plenty of videos. There's tons of videos on social media from it as well.
Yeah, and for anyone who is listening and talking about licensing, I already saw a question in the Q&A. Well, we're almost getting there about licensing and costs and stuff like that. So we'll get there. But indeed, I think it's also good to know for a lot of people that these things are created for campaigns, which means that they are online for a limited amount of time, which also means that when you see something like this, you really have to experience it immediately. So just for people to know, when you see this, it's oftentimes for a limited time to see and experience. I think that's also a good thing, right? Because that makes people, in whole FOMO sphere, I guess, because if you wait too long, you have to experience it now. Otherwise, you wait too long for this.
It worked for this because, again, they had a whole television campaign. It was running around a certain limited time. We do have customers, like Porsche, who is, has a license all year round because they're running a bunch of different experiences. Their campaigns are also winning awards. They have a need to always introduce new features. And so it just depends on, what your brand objectives are. But we have everything from 3 hours to indefinitely, and no plans of turning it off.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. And then we have this example of BMW. And I think not that I've seen this one, but I think the whole idea of, showcasing a car in augmented reality in your own driveway, bringing it at home, seeing it there, standing there, of course, very natural looking. I think that's a really great example of using this technology, right? But can you explain a bit about this specific viewer or example?
Sure. So in this, there's a hybrid model, choose between gas and electric, and they wanted to showcase the differences. So there's sort of that skeleton kind of cut through view, as well as they introduced some text. So you could actually have a simulation of what the virtual assistant would be in your car, but instead it was to go through the experience. So it could be change colors, change wheels. And I picked this because at Eighth Wall, we're working with over 25 different automobile manufacturers, and a very strong industry and typical flow is allow someone to customize the car a little bit with color, maybe have a view to the interior, maybe highlight a new feature, like in this, the hybrid features. For others, it could be something else. And then very quickly get you to the automobile manufacturer's website where there's way more car customization available. Yeah. It ties into their dealer CRM. It is very much successful. And it's why you see so many car campaigns using A12.
Nice. Anyone, any marketing agency who's doing something for cars, let's get on board. Let's start doing this, right?
We have an entire automotive section on our blog. We have specials. We continue to see them push, in terms of quality and what can be done.
Yeah, nice. I'm just, I'm sorry, Kevin, but I'm skipping a couple of examples. I will send them later, also an email. But I think it's also important to answer a couple of questions from our audience, right? And looking at the time, I mean, time flies when you're talking about an interesting topic. So I'm going to look at a couple of these questions, and let's together see if we can find an answer, right? So I see, I think the first one open is Wendy, who says, as a marketer with basic knowledge of AR, do you have any recommendations of where to start?
So we have a lot of sample projects on our website. And what I would say is access those and see if you're able to build any projects based on what we've provided. If you are, that's great. And if you're not, take a look at, we have a Slack support channel, maybe see if you can learn along the way. And if you don't, and you have the budget, then you definitely can reach out to us and we can try and put you in touch with groups like VRR and others who can actually build these experiences for you.
Yeah, I think so too. And of course, it's also always try to fiddle around, and there are really a lot of examples online, and you can take those projects and start doing it. I am not a programmer, but I do understand it's a lot more programming, and then it's not just simply dragging and dropping. You do need some programming skills, right?
That's correct. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what gives you the freedom and flexibility to make all these great experiences. If it was just drag and drop, it would be very limited and they would start to look the same.
Yeah, nice. I see also people raising their hands. If you can type in your questions in the Q&A, that's going to make our lives a lot easier. Wendy says, thank you. So that's good. Brian says, do you offer white label options? And if so, what are they?
We generally discourage white labeling. And the reason why is most of the technology we've created is unique, and we want to make sure that as the provider of the technology that we're credited. So we have a loading screen where we require powered by A12 on it. This is on our website, and also and most of every experience you saw had powered by A12. A few fashion brands have really, really insisted on it. They wanted it because their brand is the essence of everything. And, it's not just a dress or a purse or something. It's actually, core to them. And so we sometimes will consider it. When we do, we charge a much, much higher price. And so, like I said, we do try to not offer white labeling.
Yeah. Do companies, so for example, with this experience from Jumanji, for example, is there still a logo from A12 or did
Absolutely.
they? Yeah, well,
so it's also a case study on our website, and they help cross promote it. I mean, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll say, what's the industry? I'll send examples, and then there's no, then the issue goes away.
So you don't need to be afraid of showing it. I think a lot of people actually should be proud that they can showcase, powered by A12, because it's also sort of a way of seeing that it's a high quality experience that you're going.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I hope that answers Brian's question. I have another question from Nathaniel, who says 5G as it increases around the globe. Do you think WebAR will take over from native apps?
I think it depends on the experience. So for marketing, it already has. For other, industries, we'll wait and see. It has to, there has to be a reason. Like, go look at your own screen and tell me how many apps you have on your phone, right? And how many you downloaded in the last year. Like getting anyone to download an app right now for whatever your business is really, really difficult. And to get them to stay is really, really difficult. And I saw this years ago when I was at Telefonica in '02, and I see it here when I'm at Eighth Wall. So I think we're already there, and we passed that point.
Yeah, and still, what people also might not know, all these experiences need to be really low in of how much, how do you say that, how much storage they are using, right? So these experiences are really optimized and small in order to work on every browser, because why do you want to use WebAR? Because it works on all devices, but that also means that on the, on an older device, it also needs to work flawlessly. So that's, of course, where 5G might come in. But who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to optimize any assets for traditional mobile web, and adding an AR element is going to ensure that you optimize your assets.
Yeah, I mean, we've had clients who, for example, have a BIM model or something from an Autodesk CAD or something, 100 megabytes. That's not going to work. It's too big.
Let's do this. Let's go back 2 slides to the Mulberry example, because I think this is perfect for this question. 2 years ago, one more. Yeah, 2 years ago, just if you can run the video, this was created before we had real-time reflections, before we made all the updates to our engine. Just one more back.
Sorry. I don't know.
So, and you can see, here on the right is the real handbag. Here on the left, and the video should play, because it'll give you sort of the reflections from the metallic. This was done, and it's incredibly detailed. And I don't think there's anyone who's more conscious about their brand than fashion clients. And so this, shows that you can achieve incredibly high quality, meeting a standard of a very high quality brand, and do so, with 2-year-old technology. If they would literally just take the assets and put it in our new project now, it would be even better. Yeah,
I think this is nice what you're saying, because I've talked with people about AR also with cars and fashion, and they say, well, these companies, they expect that, for example, this virtual car is exactly what it will be like, physically. It needs to be really, really good, because the looks of it is going to sell it. Same with the bag. So this is a really nice example to really see that it is super powerful. Just as a question, how do you do the lighting? You're not actually in the room seeing where the light comes from, right?
It's built into Eighth Wall. Lighting estimation is built in already into your projects.
Nice. Okay, so it does estimate where the light is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I also see going into from fashion into a question from Nathaniel, who's saying, is fashion the fastest growing AR channel, do you think?
It's one of the fastest. I think consumer packaged goods is probably the fastest. I think there's just more consumer packaged goods out there, sometimes referred to as fast moving consumer products. And I think, people are taking advantage, realizing there's just a limited amount. They have to put nutrition information, and they have to have their logos, and there's just so much limited space. But if you take advantage of the QR code with a quick call to action, scan to win, find out more, delicious recipes, whatever it is, they're finding they have a better, way of making use of that space that they're already paying for and have to do anyways. So consumer packaged goods is by far our fastest growing category. Fashion is definitely one of them.
Nice. Good answer. I also see someone talking about the reference project on Eighth Wall, and they say, we need a reference Pac-Man project.
The agencies who built that, and
it does not need to be Pac-Man.
It's not. We're not going to promise that.
I can understand. And let me see. I think we have a couple more questions, and then we should round up. And there are still a lot of people listening to us, so that's good. Do you think you can grow with this technology as a one-man entrepreneur? Miguel says.
But I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No problem. Miguel is asking, do you think you can grow with this technology as a one-man entrepreneur, as a freelancer?
Yeah, actually. Oh, wow. Yeah, for sure. We've had, all different sizes and groups create projects. And some of our best projects just come from a single developer who will do one project and it'll get, we'll help publicize it and it will get, great press pickup, or it will get the attention of people in the industry that they're targeting. And then they're able to build on that. So you certainly can.
Yeah. And you have now also the because you need to be good at using AVOL, right? So that's why you also have the AVOL partners, right? Who and I guess there are also freelancers there or not?
I don't believe there's any freelancers in the official partner network. I think most of those are more than one person.
Oh, okay. I see. I see a lot of different questions regarding 3D content. I think that's something we might need to elaborate on really quick. So, because people are asking, are there easy ways of creating 3D models? And, where do you get them? How do you create them? I think if I, might answer that, it's 3D modeling is a specific skill. So I see the 3D modelers at VROwl, and they are just really good at using, their specific software. I mean, some are using Maya or Blender or whatever, but they are really good at using that specific software. And what are they good at? Creating these models. Someone created the model of this bag, right? And they did a really good job. And it's not something you can learn, in one night. It's something you need to practice and start doing. And someone is asking, can you get pre-made 3D models from a website like Sketchfab? I think you can, but you also need to have a little bit of knowledge about 3D models, because you need to have models that work and that are in low polys and that can work in AR. Not any model will actually work, right, Kevin?
That's right. Now you want to optimize it. To your point, it is a specialty, and you can certainly learn and use pre-made stuff, but all the things we're showing, I mean, these are highly customized with, as you said, really talented 3D modelers, animators, video producers, UX groups. I mean, these are highly polished.
Exactly. So I hope that answers the questions from some people. I think we have, can we do two more, Kevin?
Sure.
All right. I have Tim who's asking about 5G and WebXR. I think we have answered that earlier. Tim is asking, are you planning on using 8th wall on wearables such as HoloLens or maybe the upcoming Apple devices?
Yes. So, the thought is that any, technology is only as good as people using it. And so right now everyone is using smartphones, but we clearly know that people are going to be eventually gravitating towards headsets. Now, they're going to have significant cost challenges at the moment. And so the smartphone is not going to go away. And we already have an example for the Oculus Rift for VR, the Quest. And you can see that project on our sample page. We've done work with other headset manufacturers. We'll continue to do so when it makes sense and when the market tells us it makes sense.
Nice. Great answer. Thank you. Let's maybe do one more. And I think we have an example of that we showed, right? So Christian is asking, do you support speech recognition? But I think that's, the Candyman example. So yes, it can integrate. It does not support, but it can integrate with voice recognition software, right?
That's right. And the Candyman example is a Google speech to text example.
Yeah. And I think you say 5 times or 3 times Candyman, and then spirit starts, right? Yeah, I need to do it myself, but I have seen the videos and it looks really cool. So, to come back to Christian, it all can integrate with all different frameworks. So yes, speech to text is one of them that can work.
Maybe on the end, if you've got a second, you could just hit this last slide.
Yeah, sure.
The reason I want
See.
to, the next one, yeah, the reason I want to show this is because certainly in the United States, there's probably no bigger example than the Super Bowl. And to be selected as a technology to help power this experience for Pepsi, it's an incredible honor. And it gave people the feeling of what it would be like to walk through the tunnel as about to perform. Here's an artist, The Weeknd, who, is living a dream and being able to do so. And we wanted to, everyone involved wanted to give people that experience. And so, that's a portal example. We just recently released the Moon Portal. It was the title shot of our cover for this webinar, as well as when you first signed in to see this. And if you haven't seen it yet, go to our website and check it out. It's amazing. That it's just, yet another example of the technology continuing to improve. And I encourage all of you to, check it out.
Nice. Well, thank you, Kevin, so much for your time. I love doing this with you, and I also learned a lot. I hope it helped all the attendees here to understand a little bit better what WebAR is, what AVOL can do, how it all works, all the questions surrounding 3D models and the programming part. If you need any help, VR Owl is happy to help and happy to brainstorm about any project that you're thinking of. I will make sure to send as much information afterwards to all the attendees as possible, especially these examples, because you need to try them yourself on your phone. So I hope a lot of people will do that. And Kevin, thank you so much for doing this together.
Thanks for inviting me, and appreciate the opportunity. Everybody, check us out, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, and follow us on LinkedIn, right? I think that's a good good thing to start as well. Thank you again, and thank you everyone for joining, and see you next time.
All right, bye now.